marriage is desperately in need of play. I can hear everybody in the comment section going, that is crazy, that is mad.
The men did men things.
Right.
And the women did women things.
Right,
Do you get what I mean?
right.
And that was normal.
Hello and welcome back to the Black Swan Relationship Academy here, where we are doing our Black Swan Life podcast, where we teach you, ladies and gentlemen, how to do life and love the Black Swan way. If that sounds good to you, you're absolutely on the right podcast. And today we're going to be talking about relationships outside of the box. You know, we're going to be doing a few episodes on, you know, helping those of you who are living outside of the relationship box, outside of the relationship norm, having to navigate situations and circumstances you never thought you'd have to navigate ever in your reality. And today we want to help you somewhat normalize the idea that we do live in a world where relationship options are a thing, and definitely advocate for relationships by design. Do what works for you. Okay. But sometimes, how do we make it work? How do we make the pieces fit?
Yeah.
So we want to talk today about couples that may choose to live apart. So you are married, but you have separate homes. Hey there, Swan. Have you ever considered that it wasn't you who found this channel, but rather this channel found you? The video you're watching didn't simply happen to you, and you didn't just randomly choose to watch it. I believe you're meant to be here right now because you are a Black Swan, even if you don't realize it yet. You see, the teacher appears when the student is ready. And my dear, I believe you're ready, but are you willing to embrace the rare and exquisite existence? If your answer is yes, and only if it's yes, I invite you to click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and like this video. Let the journey begin. You live in separate cities, you live in separate countries, you actually have separate rooms. Now, I can hear everybody in the comment section going, that is crazy, that is mad, that is insane. How can people call themselves married? You know, I can hear the Christians with their Bibles. I'm like, flick your pages and see where it says we have to live together. You know, I think religion and culture and tradition have been put in one melting pot, yes, and we've kind of made everything. Mm-hmm. But I have clients who are married and live next door.
Yes.
I have clients that are married and live in different countries. I have clients that are married and live in different and sleep in different rooms. Mm-hmm. And I'm really interested, Coach Yvonne, in your take. When you hear married but living apart, what comes to mind?
Freedom. I'm sorry, I'm the sensible one, so please, every so often, something, yeah, so I'm so sorry. Okay, when you said we were going to do this, I think I remember saying to you that I was listening to a news program and they were doing this panel thing and they were talking about snoring. Right. And there was this MP on, and he was saying that he had been married, or he's been with his partner for, I think it was about 27 years, right, and they sleep in separate rooms. And he said the reason why this happens because his snoring was just so bad. His partner didn't get any sleep, so the best thing for them to do was to have separate rooms. And when he said that, I thought, what bliss. Do you know, just the fact that you go to bed, right, and you didn't go into the spare room because you had an argument, and you know, right, it's usually the women who walk out, isn't it, and slam the door.
Or they kick their husbands out, depending on the dynamic.
You know, it's not because there's anything wrong, but you have your room and mm-hmm, he's got his. Nobody's having an argument. You know, right, you sit in the evenings, you're curled up on the sofa watching a movie, and then sweetheart, I'm tired, I'm going up to bed, I'll see you in the morning. And you go into your own room, you do this with the covers, you crawl in, you do that, and you could sleep in peace. And there isn't.
I think Coach Yvonne is enjoying this too much. It's always the married people that are a bit weird, yes, a bit funny about this.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
There is no way on the planet that my husband would go for this.
Why do you think that is?
Do you know what? I'm going to ask him when I go home. And when we come back, to
the
do
next segment,
I will remember to ask me, and I'll let you know he says.
He might be like, I'm good. Let's do this.
And I'd want to know why. Because I know why I want to do it.
I think a lot of people might feel, if you suggest, what I found with, couples that do live apart, let's just talk about the separate rooms part. The living in different countries sometimes has to do with maybe the one partner, they can only earn money in a different country because that's where the money is. But to move the family, and the stability, maybe they've got too many children. The woman needs maybe support raising the kids, and so it's easier for him to work where he is and live where he is and fly over. I know that in a lot of African settings, instead of people divorcing, one just lives in London and one lives in Africa, and it's kind of, divorce is frowned upon in many kind of African cultures. So what you get are these kind of couples that have lived apart, but under the guise of, I'm in England with the children. But really the marriage is...
It's over.
It's over. And then you can say, my wife is in London, and it makes sense, So there's those, but the couple that I do know, they just had different interests. One just really wanted to live in England. England was where their heart was. It's, and the partner lives in France. He has interests there. He loves France, but these are two people that met, fell in love, have so many core values, and so they travel and visit each other. And it's always, hubby is here from France, and they have so in many ways they live a perpetual honeymoon.
Yes, because you actually want to see him when he comes back.
It's actually a perpetual honeymoon. When they're together for those 2 weeks, it's like heaven and earth. You don't hear from her. It's pictures. It's this amazing time. And then they're away for a month from each other, maybe 2. And then she flies over to France, and they've been married. I know she's for sure very loyal, to him. I can't speak for him, but I sense that it's a true soul connection, and it's absolutely working for them. And they're going to be married forever. They're going to be married forever. And, obviously they speak every night, every day. The connection and the communication, it's almost like a long distance marriage. And it's worked beautifully for them. And I do know another couple who live next door to each other. And it was because they had been, single, bought their properties, been single and lived by themselves for such a long time, and it just occurred to them, why should we merge our lives? When I like doing things the way I do it, you live next door, you can just pop over for breakfast, and I think that happened. They got married, they had kids, and the kids go from house to house, they have family dinners.
It's wonderful.
And again, those couples are probably going to stay married forever, because there is that maintaining of one's individuality whilst also being a core. Now that won't work for everybody. Neither are we recommending it, or are we propagating it as the way forward, but just really to say that so many people feel like, gosh, I don't want to get married because I just don't want to share my space with another person. And marriage might be the best thing for them. That commitment, that security that comes with might be the best thing for them, but we can tweak that piece, right? If you can express to your partner that it's really important for me to be able to maintain my lifestyle, the way I live, my furniture. I don't want to compromise about that painting, and I don't want to compromise about the sofa. I like my sofa. I bought my sofa. You like your sofa. You bought your sofa. So usually there are reasons behind this, and I think it's natural to kind of think, there must be something wrong with that dynamic. Actually, a lot of people are successfully living and having very great marriages in those setups. Now, the separate bedrooms always gets everybody going. I think I was on Instagram, and there was this post, and he was like, there's no way I am having a separate bedroom for my wife. And, he went to explain that for him, that's the only time they actually get to be together in that one bedroom. At nighttime is when they start having those real conversations about the children, what the day was like. That's where they have their peace and their quiet. And so I completely understand that. But then there was another couple that is very influential on the internet. I forget their names because I'm not big on following people. But they actually announced that they've always slept in different rooms because of the snoring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people is talking about this, and another couple that said their marriage was kind of getting boring. It was getting tedious. There was so much kind of boredom and boringness going on. And so she recommended, why don't we stay in separate rooms? You know, because it had nothing to do with her sleep patterns. It had nothing to do with anything physical. It was just the relationship had got boring. And when she started talking about how exciting their love life has become and how much sex they're having, and she's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I was reading some research, and couples who do sleep in different rooms or different beds actually have more intimacy than couples who sleep in the same bed. Because, you know, sleeping in the same bed creates that familiarity, and lust and desire, they're not good friends.
Yes.
You know, familiarity has a way of kind of neutralizing desire and wanting. So they've actually found that couples who have separate beds or separate rooms are having way more intimacy, have way more friendship. And it's the first time when I heard her story, the woman who was talking about sleeping in different rooms to spice up the marriage and how much fun they're having, I really thought to myself, that's cool. That's like dating for life, but under the same roof, right?
Yeah.
And communicating to the kids that this is how we play.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, because most people say, oh, my parents were together, but they slept in separate rooms, as though like it was a sign of conflict. But, you know, explain to the kids that, look, this is how mom and dad play. And, you know, when you have date night, you know, you get to knock on your room and take you on a date, you know. And I could definitely see the fun. And I think we were talking earlier about that marriage is desperately in need of play.
Yes. And not just need of play, but it's in need of laughter. Because as couples, we don't laugh enough together.
Right.
You know, and when you were talking, what was going through my head, I'm reading 2 Kings at the moment and reading about Samuel and the building of his temple.
Yeah.
But first he built his own palace.
Right.
And it talks about his rooms and the room of his wife. This is before he had all the concubines and all the other wives, but his first wife that he was supposed to have. And he built her this whole suite, an apartment of rooms for her maids and what have you, and he had the same for himself. So back in the day, men had their quarters and the women had their quarters.
Right.
And when he wanted to visit his wife, he was visiting with one purpose.
Right.
And it wasn't for, you know, let's just talk about the children.
Yes.
You know, he was visiting for that purpose, and they spent maybe days together, then he would go off and do. So that blueprint is already there, but over time that blueprint died out. And it's not just something that the rich did, but this was the norm. Men were here because men back then, even when I was growing up in the Caribbean, the men did men things, and the women did women things. Do you get what I mean? And that was normal for the men to do men things. Even the little boys were with the men, and the little girls were with the women, and the women would be. And nowadays, if you said that, the feminist would be up in arms. No, calm down. We're going somewhere here.
Every woman deserves to feel valued, chosen, and cherished. But too many of us are left feeling forgotten, alone, and discarded. That's why the Finding Her campaign is on a mission to reach 1 billion women worldwide, creating a space where every woman finds her tribe and discovers her black swan magnificence. But we can't do it alone. Your support is crucial to make this vision a reality. You can make a difference by donating any amount of your choice or partnering with us monthly to ensure our work continues. Together, we can create a world where no woman is left behind. Join us in finding her, one woman at a time. Visit our website or click the link below to learn more.
It's just a case of, I think we've lost a lot in the way in which things have changed, because the homes are not as they were back then, and now homes are much smaller, and we don't have the room in order to accommodate two bedrooms. Before, back in the here in this country, I think it was up until the 50s.
Right.
Married couples slept in separate beds.
Absolutely.
And if you watch those old movies,
yes.
you'll see
separate beds.
Yeah, you'll see separate beds, and they would decide which bed for them to come together.
Right.
So it was either his bed or he would go to her bed.
Right.
But they didn't, didn't share a bed.
Yeah.
And then as times have, because rooms could accommodate 2 beds, but now room sizes have shrunk, so you can only get 1 bed in there, and if you've just got a normal bed, it's barely big enough for you on your own, because some of us sleep kind of weird, so you need the whole bed.
I'm a terrible sleeper. I'll have hubby. Dear hubby, I am a terrible sleeper. I sleep diagonally. That's why I'm like, save the man.
Exactly.
And we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? Because I was saying, apart from us, earlier we were talking on the way here, wouldn't it be fun if you knocked on your husband's door and you're like, police! And you're like dressed in a police uniform, and you're like, open up, and you open the door and you're in this kind of little lingerie and you're wearing a police cap. I mean, how much fun is that? Or he comes to take you out on a date and you're wearing like leather and, like a cat suit or something, and he's expected to take you out to dinner and you're dressed up like a vixen, I think, so much play can be had with that. But again, like you said, it is something that was been in ancient time, in times gone by. And, I think it was because of poorer living conditions. People couldn't afford that. So there were even times when families, mother, father, children would be in the same room. Because, so what we have done is normalize what was really a sign of poverty or not having enough. We've normalized it and made it the normal. And you're weird if you don't, if you don't live that way. But, we've got the boudoir, the woman's boudoir, and she's got her own space and her own stuff and her own. And I really do believe that if we're going to keep people making love and being intimate, we're going to have to bring that whole play back into relationships. And if you can afford to, why not? Why not give it a go and try it out and see if this is something that might really work for you. So, I think...
just try it out and see if it will work for you. It's going to take a conversation, long conversation.
Might need some help with that one.
Because you know what, he's going to think, okay, is there somebody else? And and it
set
could
some
get
rules. It's like it's not locked doors here.
No,
you can come into my room at any time, at any moment.
Or even the person who has 2 houses. And I know of a particular couple, they had 2 houses, and you could come through. They bought 2 houses. She had one, he had but you could walk through. The marriage lasted forever. It's such a long time.
It's so much fun. It might not work for young family. I think what's really important is look at your area of your stage in life.
Yes.
I think that if you're a young couple and you're starting a family, you might need to be everybody on deck. All hands on deck.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of people feel like they're stuck in a relationship. And I always say it is acceptable, it is proper, and it is right for us to always renegotiate the contract of our marriage.
Yes.
It's okay to say our kids have come to this age now. What do we want to do with our marriage? Where do we want to live? How do we want to show up in the world? What roles do we want to play now? I had to be a stay-at-home mom, and I want to change my role. Maybe you want to take a step back. I think that what we do is this is how marriage is, and so we pummel each other throughout the decades of marriage because this is how it is. Why aren't you conforming to it? And I think what I want to see couples do more is give themselves permission to change their minds about how they want to see things happen. And I think we should normalize a person coming to their partner and saying, hey, I would like to the kids have left, we've got so many spare empty rooms. How about it? Let's give that a go and see how we do. And if it doesn't work for us, then we tried it. But guess what? In trying, you had a bit of an adventure. You had a little bit of fun. And you've learned more about yourselves. And for me, I remember saying to my sister when I first started encountering these couples and doing this work and researching this kind of new thing, because it was quite jarring to me when I first heard it. So I said to my sister, look, I'd love to try that for sure. And she was like, oh no, she was livid. There's no way, I would never, ever, ever never do that. You know, she was, you know, and my aunt was in the thing and she's like, yeah, but it actually works because research, and we're having this kind of heated conversation. And for me, it was really, like I was saying to you earlier, I sleep with the Bible on all through the night.
Yeah.
Like it's ritualistic for me. When I go to bed, Psalms, and I let it read throughout, and whatever I wake up to. And any man sleeping in my room would be like, is she crazy? You know,
and you're not passive listening to it. You're listening to
I
it.
listen to it. Like my spiritual life happens very much in my bedroom. You know, when I go into my bedroom, it's like I'm going into my place of worship.
Yeah.
Like it's where everything happens. That's where my prayer life happens. That's where my time with God happens. That's where, you know, I go to bed and the Bible is playing. That's where my bedroom is my sanctuary.
Yeah.
And almost inviting somebody to be permanently part of that feels unfair to them. And it's a big ask because it's just a weird thing, you know, I'm a weirdo, you know. So I can see how it can be beneficial. Now, I'd probably have to marry another weirdo for them to be okay with that, you know. But they might have their own rituals that they want to keep, you know, because we are in our 40s now. We're not young kids, you know. Maybe he's younger, who knows. But, you know, we're older. And we've gotten into patterns and into ways of being. So, yeah, I think I can see that for myself. I wouldn't want to abandon my rituals that make me who I am, that support my spirituality.
I hear that. I do hear that. But, you know, the beauty of all of this is it's just communication. It's just having a conversation to begin with.
Yeah.
Nobody's been browbeaten into doing this. Nobody's saying, you know, this is a must or the marriage is failing or what have you. No, nothing is failing. Everything is working.
Yeah.
Everything is going according to plan. You say for yourself that you sleep cross away the bed
diagonally
in the bed. I get into bed and I'm halfway down the other end and my poor husband comes in and what are you doing down there? And that's on
at the foot of the bed.
The foot of the bed. That's where I am. And you know, then so we're kind of like this in the it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And so when I say you know, and that's why I'm thinking, but that would be really great though, to have the bed to myself.
Like
I can and I'm happy
and
with that.
And he can have a good night's rest.
And he can very much so. And he's not waking up. He'll say, I'm so cold, and I'll touch him and he's freezing. And why? The covers are on me. Right. And because I've turned over and pulled the covers off him because he's here. So I've got the covers and poor thing, he's freezing. Just think he'd be warm.
My ex-husband had to endure my legs, my feet in his mouth. Because I start off diagonally and then I move. By the time I wake up the next morning, my head is at the foot of the bed. So he'd always be like, oh my goodness, your feet were in my face. And if that's not the case, I'm entangled somewhere in the middle of the whole thing. And poor man, you know, poor hubby, whoever's going to marry me next, poor thing. If you insist, you've been warned publicly, right? Everybody's my witness that you have been warned that your life will be terrible sharing a bed with me.
So have a big enough house.
So have a huge bed.
Yes.
Or let's have a big enough house for
a big enough house where everyone has their own room, and it's not because anything is wrong.
No, not because anything is wrong.
We just need to do what we need to do. Yeah. I do like the idea of
knocking on.
Are you ready for me? I love that idea. Really love that idea.
Yes, because she is naughty, I did tell you.
No. I like it for other people. I think it could work for other people.
I think that if we can restore play in marriage.
Yes.
I think we would have very exciting marriages that people want to be a part of.
Yeah,
and, you know,
very much so.
Then marriage would become popular again. Let's make marriage popular again.
I think that should be a campaign for Black Swan to make marriage popular.
Again.
Because you know what? People may be tempted to stay in it longer. It's popular, and if it's a good place to be, because if you turn up at work and you're happy and you're smiling and you're laughing, you haven't got time to look at the secretary or the new intern that's just arrived. You're too happy with your wife and how she's taking good care. You've got to get home for the show. There you go, because you don't know who's going to meet you. You don't know what she's wearing
and where she's at.
There you go.
She might be in your room.
Or
naked.
Or she could be somewhere else. Do you know? I was watching what is it? Sex and the City, and it was, I'm not sure if it was one of the episodes or whether it was the film, but it was Samantha where she got someone to put sushi all over her for the young guy because she was dating the younger gentleman, and she was covered from here down with sushi, and of course he got caught on the film set, didn't know any of this was happening, so she's laying there, and by the time she was livid, everything went wrong, and the whole thing went wrong. But I say all that to say, whilst I'm not, well, if sushi works for you, go ahead and do it. Right. It's just the cleanup afterwards that I'm thinking.
Well, I would rather not, I think I might pass on the sushi, dear husband-to-be. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that if you need help communicating the difficult stuff, that's what we're here to do. And we've got the course on our website, How to Talk to Men So They Listen. It might not help you necessarily navigate this particular conversation, but we know that Coach Yvonne is going to go ask her husband. So she's going to lead the charge and see what he says. Maybe she'll come back with some great results if she uses her, black swan magic on him. And if you want to explore it in your relationship, if you think it's a relationship you might want to have, and maybe have that conversation as you're dating and seeing if somebody is on board with it, absolutely have it and let us know how that goes. And if you need help with that, you know where to find us. All you have to do is check the description and have a call with any one of us, and we'll be happy to help you navigate your out-of-the-box relationship. But we're going to have to stop right here because we've run out of time, and we will see you on our next video. In the meantime, take care of you. Bye-bye. Have you ever felt like there's something bigger waiting for you out there? Are you tired of feeling trapped behind a job you hate, longing for meaning in your life? If you find yourself constantly drawn into the world of relationships, offering advice and guidance to those around you, then listen up. I've got good news for you. You are the perfect candidate for our Black Swan Relationship Coaching Certification. Join our mission to teach 1 billion women and now men how to build healthy, fulfilling love lives. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. When God gave me this assignment, I knew I couldn't do it alone. That's where you come in. We need 1 million coaches, and it starts with you enrolling in our Black Swan Professional Relationship Coaching course. In this course, you will learn everything about relationship coaching using our signature Soulmate Attraction System course. That's responsible for countless transformations at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, and will guide you on how to set up your practice, providing support every step of the way. So if you're ready to make a difference, join us. Enroll in our Black Swan Professional Relationship Coaching today, and let's fulfill this great commission together. Visit our website or click the link around this video to learn more. Don't wait any longer to pursue your passion and impact lives through relationships.